Hello everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to embark on a literal global expedition to explore the very foundation of our home, the Earth. We're going to uncover the absolute most incredible secrets of our planet's oceans and continents.
Okay, to kick things off, I want you to use your imagination for a sec. Imagine you were standing on the dusty, gray surface of the moon, and you're looking all the way back at Earth. If you looked at our planet from way out there in space, what is the most widespread color you would see? I'll give you a second to think about it. Got it? Well, the answer is blue, obviously. But what does all that beautiful blue actually represent? Let's find out.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be looking at 1. Our beautiful blue planet. 2. The 5 great oceans. 3. Ocean life and disasters. 4. Making sense of continents. 5. Islands and frozen frontiers. And finally, 6. Protecting our global waters.
Let's jump right into part 1, our beautiful blue planet.
So let's break down exactly what's covering our Earth. Remember that blue color we just talked about? Well, it represents water. Almost 3/4, a whopping 75% of the Earth's surface is completely covered with water. The remaining 1/4, the brown part, is land. Because there's just so much water, early astronauts lovingly called Earth the blue planet. It really is like a giant blue marble floating in space.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 5 Great Oceans.
Before we start naming names, we really need to understand what we're talking about here. An ocean is, quite simply, defined as the largest body of water on the globe. They are absolutely the dominant geographic features of our planet. They shape our entire climate, they support basically all life, and they connect the whole world.
If you look at a map, you'll typically see 5 great oceans labeled. We've got the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, the Arctic Ocean, and the Southern or Antarctic Ocean. But here is a really crucial point I want you to remember. The boundaries between these oceans, they're totally just human inventions. Nature doesn't draw invisible lines in the water. Seawater is constantly flowing and mixing freely between all of them, making it one giant, deeply connected global water system. Next up, Section 3, Ocean Life and Disasters.
Underneath the waves, there is a whole hidden world of life, and scientists divide it into 2 main categories. First, we have marine flora. Now, flora just refers to plant life, so think of tiny plants like algae drifting around in the sunlit surface, or those long, swaying seaweeds. On the flip side, we have marine fauna. Fauna means animal life. This includes everything from the tiniest, colorful reef fish and leaping dolphins to massive giant sperm whales, and even those really mysterious, glowing creatures living way down in the pitch-black depths of the sea.
But you know, the ocean isn't just a peaceful home for life. It is a source of raw, immense power. While oceans create the clouds that bring life-saving monsoon rains to our crops, they can also generate devastating natural disasters. It's kind of like a massive domino effect. Step 1, a really strong earthquake or volcanic eruption happens deep at the ocean bottom. Step 2, this violent shake displaces massive amounts of water, forming a huge, powerful wave called a tsunami. Step 3, this wave travels across the ocean at totally incredible speeds for thousands of kilometers. And finally, Step 4, the wave crashes into land, submerging coastal areas and causing immense damage.
Because these ocean-borne natural phenomena can be so incredibly destructive, human societies just have to be prepared. For instance, in India, events that lead to the loss of life and property are very carefully handled through disaster management. India actually has a dedicated organization called the National Disaster Management Authority, which is specifically set up to help prepare for, manage, and recover from these really intense disasters.
All right, shifting gears to Section 4, making sense of continents.
Remember that 1/4 of the Earth that we said is brown? Well, we need some precise vocabulary for it. A landmass is simply a large body of land. Pretty straightforward, right? But a continent is slightly more specific. It is a large, continuous expanse of land. Grasping that exact distinction is super important for this next fascinating puzzle we're about to solve.
Get this, depending on who you ask, the number of continents on Earth actually changes. Because continents are just ways that humans try to group continuous landmasses, there isn't actually one single right answer. If you group Europe, Asia, and Africa together, you might say there are only 4 continents. If you split them up a bit more, you might count 5 or 6. But splitting them up into Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, and South America gives us 7 continents. And this 7-continent model, that's the one most widely adopted and used around the world today.
Let's zoom back in for Section 5, Islands and Frozen Frontiers.
This brings us perfectly to islands. So what's an island? It's defined as a landmass completely surrounded by the sea or ocean. They're basically like mini continents, entirely boxed in by water. And I've got a great piece of trivia for you here. The largest island on the entire Earth is Greenland.
But islands aren't always giant frozen landmasses like Greenland. Sometimes they come in huge, beautiful clusters. Take a look at this staggering number, 1,300. That is the number of small islands that belong just to India. This includes 2 really famous massive groups, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, located over in the Bay of Bengal, and the Lakshadweep Islands, nestled beautifully in the Arabian Sea.
Speaking of frozen frontiers, let's travel to the absolute bottom of the world, Antarctica, the coldest continent. This place beautifully illustrates India's incredible spirit of exploration. Back in 1981, the Indian Antarctica program began exploring this super harsh, icy environment. By 1983, they had established their very first scientific base called Dakshin Gangotri. And if we jump right up to the present day, over 40 teams of Indian scientists have gone down there to study the climate. And honestly, my favorite fun fact about this, the scientific settlement down there actually has its own library and a working post office right in the middle of the ice. How cool is that?
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, protecting our global waters.
June 8th is designated by the United Nations as World Oceans Day, and they use this incredibly powerful quote to remind us all why the oceans matter. They say, "It serves as the lungs of our planet, a major source of food and medicine and a critical part of the biosphere." It's really simple. Without the oceans, human survival just wouldn't be possible. The oceans literally breathe life into our world.
But guys, our blue planet is facing some really immense human-made challenges right now. Every single year, millions of tons of plastic waste are just thrown into the ocean, and it's literally choking the amazing marine life we just learned about. On top of that, overfishing is rapidly depleting our marine fauna, meaning we are taking fish out of the sea way faster than they can ever reproduce. Combined with general chemical pollution, our environment is under a severe threat. It is absolutely our collective responsibility to recognize these threats and start changing our habits.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground today, and a ton of water. Let's do a quick rapid-fire revision to lock these facts into your brain, inspired by the crossword puzzle from our source material. Ready? What is the largest island? Greenland. The coldest continent? Antarctica. What do we call a huge, destructive ocean wave? A tsunami. And finally, how much of our globe is covered by water? 3/4. Excellent job.
And that wraps up our explainer for today. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. Knowing everything you know now, knowing that the oceans are quite literally the lungs of our planet, what steps are you going to take today to help protect our blue planet for tomorrow? Whether it's just trying to use a little less plastic or maybe taking some time to learn more about conservation, the power is completely in your hands. Thank you so much for exploring with me today. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.